Hello, hello, hello. Hi there. Finally. Hi. Hi. Just waiting to see if some people will be coming through in the comments section. Just waiting a few seconds to at least have someone watching the live. How are you guys? How are you doing? Somebody come through. Yes, awesome. Looks like we already have two people watching, so we might as well begin. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my live stream, my story time live stream. I just thought that today I would share with you, a story that happened several years ago. Just get to talk and hang out with each other and talk about some things that are, a story that happened. I'm sure you will find the story a little bit fascinating. This story just sort of like goes on to show you what happens when um, you as a wheelchair user try to use public transport. Let me tell you, it's a nightmare. It's a situation that if you find yourself in that situation, you would definitely be very frustrated, as you're gonna tell from my story. But before I get ahead of myself, allow me to just put forward this disclaimer that if for some reason this live stream doesn't seem to be going well, or I seem to be losing some signal or whatever, just bear in mind with me because I'm not a very technical person. I'm not a technical guru. So it took me forever to get this setup running. So I hope that you are getting me live and clear. So, if you are tuned in, please let me know in the comment section if you can see me live and clear. Just let me know. Are you seeing me well? Are you also getting the sound well? Um, so that we can proceed with the live stream. Just comment something in the comment section and let me know how the live stream is going. I see we have about three people who are watching right now. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me well? Let me know in the comments section. Right, so maybe while I wait for your comments to come through, allow me to oh, well, already, of course, my mom is already in the live stream. Hi, mom. Thank you for joining in. Right. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Can you hear me properly? Can you hear me properly? Please let me know in the comment section. Um, Somebody let me know, please, before I start. Is the sound okay? Is the picture okay as well? Okay. Let's get right into my story. So, this story happened a few years ago when I was still doing my attachment. So, this means I was still working towards attaining my bachelor's. And the program was structured in such a way that you complete it in 4 years. Three of them, that's in house learning. You're actually in a classroom, you are taking your lectures, and then you have a year, 9 months to a year, where you go on what they call industrial attachment, or some of you may be familiar with it as internship, where you go and get practical experience working at some organization uh, that is in alignment with the program that you're studying. So my friend and I, we found ourselves attached at a bank. We were working at a bank, and we were in the marketing department of a bank. Okay, so we were going on and on with our attachment, and everything was just good. You know how it is. It was very hectic right from the word go, because the working hours were long, and we worked from Monday to Saturday. During the working week, from Monday to Friday, we would be in the office by maybe 7 a.m., and we would close the bank at around 5:30 p.m. And if you have ever worked in a bank, you know that after that you have to balance your transactions and everything. And so we would always wait until everything balanced out so that we could go home. So more often than not, we would leave the banking mall way past 8 p.m. So it was really, really hectic. I'm sure you get the picture. So obviously, given that kind of work schedule, it affected our social lives like a lot. We barely had time to do anything else except to work, 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 and work. So our social lives were severely affected. We couldn't hang out with friends. We couldn't go out as often as we would have loved to. Our social engagement was just low. It was almost, in fact, non-existent. Okay. I'm told that my sound and my picture is okay. That's great. So the weekdays were hectic. Saturdays, which normally would have been a free day, was also a little bit hectic because we'd also go into the office in the morning, and then we would close the banking more around 3 p.m. And we would maybe balance out things up to 5 p.m. So it just never worked out. Okay, social life was non-existent, and this was at a very interesting point in my life, because at that point I was also learning to um, I was getting into the music industry. I know that I've spoken about it a little bit on my channel. I once dabbled in music. Okay, I gospel music, songwriter, worship leader, recording artist, and I was just stepping into it. And I remember that I had already recorded a single by that time, and the single was doing well. It was in the charts. It was on number one on radio. Yay for me. And I was so happy and excited and thrilled. It is amazing. And one other thing that I needed to do was to network, because I was very new in the industry. I was very green. I was an amateur. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any connections. Everything was just crazy. So I definitely wanted to connect with other artists so that I could go as ahead as possible. Networking, very important. So I had a friend of mine who was also a musician, who was launching an album, and this guy obviously invited me to his album launch. As a friend, I had to be there for him, but with my work schedule, things were very hectic. And he was launching his album, I remember, on a Friday night. And like I told you before, we would close the office at 5:30 and would work maybe up until 8 p.m. So my friend and I, we were debating like, can we attend the album launch? And the obvious answer, the most logical answer was no, because one, it was right in the middle of our work week, and also the album was being launched like in Harare, and we lived like in a small town called Chinoi, and it's about 120 to 125 kilometers from Harare to Chinoi. So you can imagine, with our working hours, going there was practically impossible. But because we didn't want to disappoint our friend or my friend, And also because it was a good networking opportunity, we forced ourselves to go to Harare. I remember we had a lot of discussions with my friend. His name is Serge, by the way. That's his nickname. Call him Serge. And I was like, Serge, can we really go to Harare and support this guy? And Serge was like, yeah, we can go, but we did have private transportation, so we obviously had to factor in the public transport equation into play. And as a wheelchair user, let me tell you, using public transport is a nightmare. But going to Harare and attending that album launch was way more important than thinking about our comfort or the feasibility of going to Harare at such late hours. So we convinced ourselves that we had to go because we didn't want to disappoint my musician friend. So we decided that we were going to surprise him. I had already told him that I couldn't make it, and of course, he was very, very, very disappointed. So when I heard how disappointed he was on the phone, that's when we both thought like, oh, maybe man, we need to reconsider this. So anyway, long story cut short, we asked my boss for permission to leave a little bit early on that Friday of the album launch. So we left work at around 4 p.m. and we went to look for a minibus. We call them combis, macombis, and in around South Africa, what they call them taxis. So we went to look for one, and got one, and off to Harare we were. The plan was we would go to Harare, we would go to the Zimbabwe College of Music, we would attend the album launch, we would network and get to speak to a few key people like radio DJs, radio personalities, other musicians, etc. To get the story. So that was the plan. And then after that, we thought we could just look for transportation and come back home in time to go rest and prepare for another work day the following day. Solid plan, right? Hmm. So we off to Harare we went. We got there, no hassles, no problems. And when we got there, oh, my friend was so happy. The one was launching the album. I was like, oh, you guys are here. Oh, you should have told me that you were coming. I didn't think you would make it because you guys had said that you wouldn't be able to make it. And like, we wanted to surprise you. And he was so happy. And as most events happen, uh, the album launch was delayed. So I think it started an hour later than it was supposed to. So we were already behind schedule. And I asked my friend, like, Sage, are you sure we're gonna be able to make it back home in time? And he was like, no, don't worry about it, Shumba. We're gonna be fine. I do this all the time. I go to Harare at night, I come back home. It's no big problem. I said, okay. So we continued through with the program. And of course, I had a great opportunity to network with many key people like we had planned. So it was good. I also managed to give out my CD to, a few people. So here's my CD where I'm basically introducing myself. And when the launch was over, we had to rush, say bye to my friend, and congratulate him on an outstanding album, outstanding live performance, and on launching his album. So we congratulated him, and then we're like, look, dude, we would love to hang out with you a bit more, but we have to go back to Chinoy, and the earlier we leave this place, the better, because we still need to get to public transport so we can go back home. And of course, it was very understanding, and we left just a tiny little bit early, but it was later than what we had planned we were gonna do. So soon after leaving the venue, we started talking like, what do you think is our best transportation plan, and we decided that we were gonna go and get a lift. Like what do they call it? Get a lift, hitchhiking. I don't know. Hitchhiking, is it? Hiking, whatever. You know what I mean. So we decided to go for that. And while we were on our way to go and find a car, a lift to get to Chinoy, we encountered these guys with their combi. It's a minibus. Then they were like, "Oh, you guys, are you guys going to Chinoy? Where are you guys going?" Said, "We're going to Chinoy." And they're like, "Yeah, we are going to Chinoy as well, so we can take you there if you want." And they're like, "Are you sure? How much is it?" They told us, and we were not sure. We were still looking at each other like, are we gonna join them or what? And if you know guys who tout, who their touting game is on point, if you show any kind of hesitation, like, no, I'm not so sure, they'll make the decision for you. And they made the decision for us while we're still debating between ourselves. The tout, he grabbed our bag and he went with it into the minibus and into the combi. It's like, you guys, come on, we even have a space for the wheelchair. You guys will get you home safe. And we're like, man, like, why do we have to waste more time by walking towards the lifts when we could just get into this combi? And what's the difference anyway to get us home? So we shifted our plans and we went with the flow. We got into the combi and we were on our way home. And then it took a little bit of more time for the combi to get to full capacity. These guys will not move until they have filled in all the places so that they maximize on their profits and don't run any losses. So we had to wait and move around looking for more people who were also going in the same direction, the Harare Chinoi Banquet way. So I think it took an hour more to get the combi to full capacity, and then we were on our way home. So obviously, on our way home, we were just talking and like, "Oh man, I'm so glad we did this. What were we worried for? We thought we wouldn't get any transport, but look at us. God is so good. We are on our way back home." We were very confident that everything was just gonna go well because, like, what could possibly go wrong, right? So, when we were about to get to a place called Banquet, it's a little bit closer to Chinoy, maybe just a few 20 something kilometers away from Chinoy. It would be Banquet first, and then you get to Chinoy. My friend was like, "Ah, Shumba, we are almost home now." So we're very happy, very thrilled. And then the conductor started asking the passengers, like, who's going to Chinoy? Do we have anyone going to Karoi? There wasn't anyone. Do we have anyone going to Chinoy? My friend and I, at that point, we were engrossed in our own discussion. So we didn't hear him asking, like, is there anyone going to Chinoy? We didn't hear him like properly asking if anyone was going to Chinoy. We just assumed that there were other people also in the vehicle who were also going to Chinoy. And remember, we had that discussion with him before we got on board. So I hear the guy repeat his question like, "Do we have anyone going to Chinoy?" And my friend was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, we're going to Chinoy. Have you forgotten? Like when you guys picked us up, we said we were going to Chinoy, and you also said you would take us to Chinoy." And the guy was like, okay. How many are you? And inside my head, I'm like, what do you mean, how many are you? And why are you asking that question? Like, we have already decided that this vehicle is going to Chinoy. I mean, that was our agreement when you got it, right? So, but anyway, I didn't voice my concerns. I just started thinking to myself, like, what's up with these questions? And then, we continued moving. A few minutes later, we see the guy, the conductor, whispering to the driver now, like, just whispering passionately and, hush, hush. And I'm like, what are these guys talking about from the corner of my eye, you know, and couldn't hear them. And then we were almost in Banket at this time. And then they said, guys, we are no longer going to Shinoi. And they're like, excuse me? What do you mean you are no longer going to Shinoi? This was almost 12 midnight. I was like, what do you mean you're no longer going to Shinoi? And they were like, no, there's only two of you. When we're picking up people, we thought there would be more. So we can't drive all the way to Shinoi just to go and drop off two people. And like, you should have said so before we got into your vehicle. And the guy was like, no, you know how it is. What. He started saying a lot of things. And I was like, oh, goodness me, what are we going to do? And my friend Sage now was getting angry, very agitated. It's like, are you guys, are you crazy? Like, what do you mean? What do you want us to do? Don't you see that we've got a wheelchair with us? Like, what are you expecting us to do? This is midnight. Where are we going to find alternative transport? This guy, frankly, just didn't care. It was the younger one. The driver was a little bit older, was just quiet. Like, this guy wasn't gonna get into the confrontation by any means. So he just, kept to himself. And my friend was getting angry and angry and started debating with this guy, like, dude, look, you can't do this to us. My friend here is in a wheelchair. You are making our lives very, very complicated. It's not safe. Like, what do you mean you're not gonna go to Chinoi? What are you gonna do? What do you want us to do? And this guy's like, no, you guys, I don't know. Just make a plan. And now the other passengers who were also in the vehicle were like, ah, you can't do that to them. Like, they were feeling quite empathetic towards our plight. They're like, no, guys, look, this guy is in a wheelchair. Like, you can't just do them like that. But, well, it was all falling on deaf ears. This guy wasn't budging. I could clearly see by the way that the driver was pretending to be unaware of what was happening, that he was allowing the younger dude to do his dirty work for him. And oh man, it was just a mess. So it became a heated debate, and the other people were in the vehicle were like, no, you guys, you can't do that to them. It's better for you to drop all of us off right here in Bucket, and we make our way home because we live here, and then you get these two guys to Chinoi because you promised them that you'd get them to Chinoi. The young guy wasn't listening at all and was like, we're gonna give you guys your money back since we didn't take you where we had promised we would take you. I'm like, what are we gonna do with the money? It's not like we need the money like to get into another car. Like, there's literally no more traffic here. How do you want us to get home? And I noticed that we were fighting a losing battle. My friend was getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And I was just like, Sage, you know what? You need to calm down. And it's like, Shumba, you can't do us like this. You know what? We need to defend ourselves. This is absolute nonsense and whatever. And I'm like, I think we just need to get off. This guy wants us out of his combi. It's better for us to leave. The earlier we get off, the earlier we'll find alternative transport to go home. And no matter how much the other passengers are like, you can't do this, what, this guy absolutely refused to find any reason to change what he had already decided he was gonna do. So some older gentleman was in some older passengers